7 years ago, Ina and I had a pretty traumatic experience on a Sri Lankan train. So I've come back to Sri Lanka and I'm about to embark on an 11-hour journey from Colombo to Ella to see if the trains here are as bad as I remember. I was gonna give you guesses as to where I am right now, but then I realized that you probably already know because of the title of this video. And on top of that, I've probably done an intro just before this talking bit now. So welcome to Sri Lanka, and more specifically, welcome to Colombo. And yes, I am by myself today. I have come to Sri Lanka to test out some new activities that we want to do with our guests next year with our company, Where Next Escapes. We'll give you more information about that later. Tomorrow morning, at 5 a.m. I will be embarking on an 11-hour train journey from Colombo up through Kandy and then into Ella. Now this is a very famous train journey, or specifically the Kandy to Ella part is quite famous, but it's also a very long train journey, and typically Sri Lankan trains don't necessarily run on time. So I don't know how I feel about it right now. I got literally the last ticket that was available, and you're coming along for the ride too. I took the opportunity to get out in a Tuk Tuk. Didn't even really need to do anything except buy some snacks for the train tomorrow. It's the most immersive way to just kind of zoom around the city. It's relatively affordable, and it's just, this is gonna sound like a negative thing, it's an attack on the senses, but in a good way. It's not the same experience that you get when you're in a taxi. You're behind windows and you just don't really absorb what's going on around you. In a Tuk Tuk, you really feel the place that you're exploring. So, been out, got my train snacks, ready for the adventure tomorrow. All right, I am just getting ready to go to bed, and I thought actually before I crash out for this evening, I thought I'd have a quick look and just check the route. All right, so here we got the Fort railway station. This is all the trains that are gonna be leaving. This just comes up on Google Maps, by the way. Pretty handy, and what I'm looking for is the 555 right there to Badula. That's the one that I'm gonna be getting. And then if we just open this up, there it is, Fort Railway Station. I want to show you guys all the stops. So it leaves off at 555, more stops until Ella. Now I have a little bit of experience with trains in Sri Lanka, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, but they're not known for being the most punctual, on time in terms of their keeping to schedule. So let's hope I can get there by 4-ish, 4:30, something like that. That's a long day. Alright, so far it's chaos. I'm looking for train number F, which I think is all the way down the other side. Apparently it's a public holiday today, which is why the train was full. I got the last ticket. It's all a bit hectic. Just trying to make sure that I do not miss this train, because there's not another one. Aha, F, here we are. So we made it. The ticket says 5:30, but online said 5:55. Now it's 5:30. The train has already been jolting around a bit, so let's see if it's now leaving. Alright, I have seen a couple of people with coffee. I don't know where it came from, but I need to find out. Got my my 2 scoops of Nescafe instant. To be honest, I don't expect anything else on a train. But it cost me 200 Sri Lankan rupees, which I'll put the conversion at the bottom for you guys right now.
Part of this journey is the Kandy to Ella segment, which is what we're doing right now, because it is the most scenic part of the whole journey, and this is where you get your, your iconic shot hanging out the side of the train from places like this. Sorry, it's quite loud. Yeah, this is the bit where you're going to spend most of your time looking out there.
Every now and then, the train is stopping at different points, different scenic points. People can get out, take photos, look around if they want to. So far, I am starting to see why this is known as one of the most beautiful railway journeys in the world, because it's been epic so far. Really, really cool. Look at that. I'm about 7 hours into my journey so far, and it doesn't feel like 7 hours actually. I think there's about 3 left. Now currently at Great Western Station. But yeah, 7 hours have flown by. We're still here. We should be arriving in Ella in the next 30 minutes, hopefully. There's still another couple of cool things to see along the way, so stay tuned for that. Okay, welcome to Ella. It's now 4 p.m, so less than 12 hours at least. Alright guys, I made it. Welcome to the 9 Arch View Rest Inn. I decided to go for a property that was situated with a bit of a scenery. It's about 5 minutes down into the main town of Ella, which by the way, driving through then, looks really vibey. I was really surprised at how kind of it had real Bali vibes just from driving through there. Lots of like cool looking bars, restaurants, massage places, shops. I have to go and check that out either later today or tomorrow. Going to be staying here for 2 nights, so definitely going to show you guys a little bit more of Ella in the next vlog. But first, let me show you this view. Just down there you can see the famous 9 Arch Bridge, which later hopefully I'm going to be able to show you some epic shots of trains coming over this bridge. Stay tuned for that. So it's a beautiful little property, only 3 rooms in this whole place, and if I remember off the top of my head, this place cost 21,000 Sri Lankan rupees, which I think is a bargain. It's a huge room, as you can, it's only me and I get to choose whether I want to stay in this bed, whether I want to stay in this bed, or whether I want to stay in this bed. The place is massive. It's got a huge balcony at the front with a view of 9 Arch Bridge, so it's really good. I'll give you guys a proper update after I've stayed here for 2 nights, but yeah, so far so good. Alright, so I wanted to give a recap on today before it gets too late, and we still have some beautiful sunshine. The owner of this place is a really friendly guy. He came and picked me up from the train station, wouldn't let me carry my own bags, and he referred to me and said that now that I'm staying in his house, I'm his family. If there's anything I need, to let him know. So far, highly recommend this place. It's really cool. But the train. So I mentioned before that I haven't had the best experience on Sri Lankan trains before. Ina and I, it was in 2017, so it was a long time ago. Ina and I got the train from Colombo down to the south coast to Ahangama. I think it was a journey that was supposed to be 3 hours or something like that. And now, bear in mind, she was also heavily pregnant at the time. So we thought, hey, let's get the train. It's just 3 hours. How bad can it be? It was a very uncomfortable experience. So in Sri Lanka here, they have different classes of trains or different styles of trains. You've got the old red ones. They stop at every single stop along the way. I remember buying the ticket for that train, and I think we bought or were somehow sold first class or something. We got to the train with our ticket and we said, oh, first class, first class. The guy just looked at us and went, no, there's no first class. Everybody gets the same class. We spent this supposed 3 hours, which actually turned out to be 5 in the end. The train was so rammed that we were essentially wedged in a doorway for the entire duration. Now, bearing in mind, actually, I've just stood in a doorway for the best part of 6 hours just now because it was so beautiful, and it also didn't help that we were crammed in with hundreds of other people, so it wasn't a choice to stand in the doorway, let's put it that way. We were sat on top of our giant suitcases, just kind of clinging on for dear life, half out of the door. So that was my previous experience, and I swore I wouldn't get the train again here in Sri Lanka. And then I heard about this Ella Odyssey. The train number is 1041, if I remember correctly. They do it 2 times per week, on a Thursday and on a Saturday. Those are the only times you can get it from Colombo coming in this direction, and then there's 2 other days going back. This train was brought in actually specifically for the benefit of tourism. So it's a much newer train, spacious, comfortable, well serviced. They have coffee, they have food. You get your own seat reservation, an actual seat reservation, which I was skeptical about when I was given this ticket. And the guy was like, yeah, you get your own seat. And I'm like, we'll see. Got there. There was a seat. The ticket for me for second class was, in fact, why don't I get our editor, our wonderful editor, to put everything over here. So for a second class ticket, which by the way, I think is perfect. This is now pretty much the hottest time of the year, and the fans in the windows were more than enough. It was perfect. Even third class, if you're traveling in a group, third class was actually really cool because you get a table and a group of chairs around it, like a bench chair. So if you're traveling as a group, I'd recommend third class, and it's going to be easier to get that ticket. So a second class ticket is 4,000 Sri Lankan rupees, which converts currently in today's money to $12 and 50 cents. That's the ticket itself. On top of this ticket, I did pay a fee of $10 to actually get this ticket. The issue is they release the tickets exactly 30 days before the journey. By 29th day, they're very hard to get hold of. All of the tour guides and things like that, they all seem to have some kind of contact in various train stations around Sri Lanka where they somehow are able to get hold of these tickets. So that was an extra $10 US. Then once it was on board, one thing I really liked is actually the prices were quite reasonable. If I compare it to the train journey that we did in Thailand, where, as any of you that have watched that video will know, I mentioned how much things cost a lot, and a lot of people made a comment about that, and they were like, oh, you know, why are you complaining about how much it costs? So this, I'm not going to do that, because actually the prices were really good. I had 2 coffees while I was on that train, and they worked out to be 200 rupees per coffee, which is about 60 cents. So I had 2 of those, so that's $1.20 that can go up there as well. On top of that, they come around and they ask you whether you want to have lunch or not. They take your seat number, they take your order, you have a choice of 3 or 4 different things, and then they tell you the time that they're going to bring it round to you so that you actually get your food warm. So I opted in for this, and the cooked lunch was 700 Sri Lankan rupees, which is around $2.19. I had a chicken curry with rice and lentils. It was delicious. And that was it. That was my total cost for traveling on the Ella Odyssey. That comes to a total price of 15 $89 US. So less than $16 for a ticket, coffees, and food on board. You can of course buy your own snacks and take them if you want to. And they have other options as well. Veggie options, meat options. In terms of the journey itself, so it was around roughly 11 hours that it took me to do the journey, which sounds really, really long. Battery died on the camera. Some more information that you need to know that I mentioned earlier is the train number that you want to get is 1041, or the Ella Odyssey, which leaves on a Thursday and a Saturday at 5:30 a.m. And a very important piece of information that I'd like to give you as well is it leaves always from platform 1 at Colombo Fort station. So it was a long journey. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, but to be honest, it really didn't feel like it, and it surprised me. I was expecting to be in for a real long, arduous journey, and it just wasn't. Left at 5:30 in the morning. You know, at that time of the day, you sit in your chair and you sort of chill, and you know, you can have a little doze if you want to. I didn't. I just sat and relaxed for a couple of hours. Within 3 hours, you're in Kandy, pretty much, and by the time you get to Kandy is basically when it becomes the most beautiful. So I noticed that it started to become quite beautiful from about 2 hours into the journey. And from that point there, that's when I would say, get yourself a position in one of the doorways and just take it all in. You can also open all of the windows and things in the actual train, except for in first class, I might add. So this is why I wouldn't necessarily say it's worth getting first class, because it has air conditioning. So you can't open the windows. In the other cabins, you can open the windows, you can breathe in that fresh jungle air, which is really amazing. From Kandy, that's when you can basically stand in the doorway. You've got a lot of people getting the typical shot of hands on the rails hanging out of the door, which if that's your thing, then by all means go for it. I would note that somebody did fall on our train. Luckily, it was at the station. So it was just as the train was pulling out of the station, she decided to get her shot. So the train was going quite slow. She did fall straight onto the concrete off the train, and the train carried on going. I don't know how she made it the rest of the way because there isn't another train. Just keep that in mind. I think it's become a real trend for people to do this hanging off the edge of the train. It could really end badly for somebody. But anyway, the journey itself was amazing, super, super beautiful. I highly, highly recommend it. For the price, I think it's so worth it. The other option, what a lot of people do is they drive to Kandy and then they get the train from Kandy to Ella because it's a slightly shorter journey. So if your plan is to go all the way through to Ella and you're not planning to stop in Kandy, I would really recommend getting the train the whole way and just staying on. It took 11 hours, but it was a very, very pleasurable, enjoyable 11 hours. If there's anything that I've missed, I'm sorry. I literally landed in the country yesterday, got very little sleep, and then got up at stupid o'clock this morning to get an 11-hour train journey. So if there is anything that I've missed, please ask me questions in the comments down below. You guys should know by now, we always respond to our comments, even the not so nice ones. If you've done the journey, let me know what you thought. Or if you have been on one of the famous Sri Lankan red trains, let me know how you got on with that as well. Did you have a similar experience to Ina and I back in 2017? But anyway, I am now here. I'm in Ella. I've decided I am going to do a vlog while I'm here in Ella because it looks really cool and there's lots of fun things to do. I'm here for 2 nights, so you can expect another one coming up after this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, maybe the algorithm has sent this video your way and it's the first time you've ever heard of us. If you like the content, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to click the notification bell to make sure you find out every time we post a new vlog. And that's it. I'm tired. I'm going to bed now. See you later.